What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 21st, 2019. How low is Bitcoin going to go? How many times have we done videos like this when Bitcoin's in the middle of a dip, in the middle of a retracement, in the middle of a pullback? That's why I kind of put in the thumbnail, I said, it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's always the same thing, and it's always going to be the same thing. So if you're out there right now, the best way to endure, the best way to kind of make it through these things is to have patience and just realize the fact that this is the way it is. This is the way it goes for Bitcoin. And I wanted to do a quick video just discussing that, right? I'll do some technical analysis discussing the fact that we fell below our first support area. It happened. It's not the first time we broke a Fibonacci support, especially on a shorter term Fibonacci support. Really not concerned about it. And I want to talk about that. If you're here right now, hit the like button. Appreciate you coming by. If you're in the live chat, hopefully I get rid of that beeping noise that I had yesterday going on. I think I did, but there's potential that I didn't. Appreciate everybody coming by. So before I jump into the actual charts, right? Before I really dig in here, I do want to. And actually, let me just reorganize my screen a little bit here. I do want to go over some tweets, right? So here's a tweet I did from actually this was, when was this? When did I do this tweet? This was literally like not even 2 hours ago. I have a lot going on, everybody. This entire leg down from June high will prove to be the very last opportunity to buy Bitcoin under 10K. Many have said this before. I know, I get it. But we have finally reached a point in this Bitcoin cycle that makes it likely. And I want to talk about that real quick. And before I get into that, I feel like I have to, for context, especially in context to the thumbnail, the same thing over and over and over again. This is what happens, everybody. We're down 47% around since June high, and this is what happens. We're down 30%, 40%, 50%, whatever Bitcoin's down. It happens so often in Bitcoin. This is what happens. You start seeing the crazy articles, the crazy tweets. Bitcoin massacre, $180 million worth of Bitcoin longs liquidated on BitMEX. 179.3 million worth of longs have been liquidated on BitMEX. One of the top traders on BitMEX who felt long and strong at the 8,000 level most probably regrets his recent tweet. This string of bloody red candles opens a possibility for a further drop to below 7,000, which has been the pipe dream of Bitcoin bears ever since the Bitcoin price blasted past this level back in May. Trader, the Wolf of Wall Street, says that the retail interest in Bitcoin has been slowing down in November. Hence, it's unlikely that the average Joe will start FOMOing in anytime soon. I agree with that. Like, if you look at the long-term chart that I did back in December 2018, bear market low, retail FOMO, I don't think is going to happen until, well into 2020, 2021. Like, that's been the case, and that's kind of what we've been saying since when I charted this back in the December low. And we're on trajectory to see great gains, but at the same time, you have to put in the work, right? If you want to see something great happen, you have to put in the work, and that's the same thing for Bitcoin charts. It really is. So another, just in context to the same thing over and over again, is this. Where is it? Peter Schiff. I have to bring it up. I'm sorry. I have to bring it up. Bitcoin spiked by 40% in less than 24 hours. Then, in the ensuing 4 weeks, Bitcoin steadily lost 100% of those gains. This is a classic pump and dump. Run the price up to sucker in momentum buyers, then sell into the demand. When will Bitcoin buyers wake up? You're being played. I think like the number one thing, Peter doesn't have any. He says this is the classic pump and dump. Number one, the classic pump and dump doesn't have a use case. It's a shell. It's empty. It would never be a technology that changes the world. right? And so like that's immediately the number one thing wrong with what he's saying here is that it's a pump and dump, because that a pump and dump is defined by something that has absolutely no use case. It's a shell. It's a mirage. It's fake. It's not even real, and people are buying it. Bitcoin is not that, first of all. But number two, from a technical analysis standpoint, he's always wrong. Like he always comes out with these tweets. It's a perfect reflection of the person that's buying Bitcoin when it's at a swing high, and then they're selling it when it's down 40%. His tweets reflect that mindset perfectly. He is viewing Bitcoin charts from a completely emotional standpoint, in that every time Bitcoin's down, he's patting himself on the back like he's right. He's been right all along. And I'm not, listen, even when I disagree with somebody as much as I do with Peter, I will not say anything bad about Peter. I think it's so sad, and it's discouraging to see that somebody spends so much time being negative about something he clearly doesn't even have interest in, right? He wants to see people fail. He wants to see people lose money, and he wants to be right in seeing Bitcoin fail. And that makes me sad. That makes me like, man, I don't get why people are like that. Like, I don't get why he wastes so much time doing this. He could be doing, so much other positive stuff, I'm sure, with his time, with his life. And I'm not sure why he's doing that. But number two, from a technical analysis standpoint, I gotta call him out on the fact that he's pretty much always wrong with his tweets, right? And here's another part of his tweet. Bitcoin is nearing the neckline of the Head and Shoulders top I pointed out before the October 25th 40% pump. The right shoulder is now shrugged, and the neckline slanted and parallel to the shoulders. If it breaks, the price objective for the dump is $1,000 to complete the pattern. So I didn't see his Head and Shoulders post, but looking at a zoomed out chart, I feel like he's probably looking at, I think this is what he's talking about. I could be wrong. I have no idea. But he might be looking at like a long-term Head and Shoulders, right? Where here's the right shoulder set up. Here's approaching the neckline with a target, the height of the head, going down into below 1,000. I literally have no idea what Head and Shoulders he's talking about. But my point that I want to point out is this. When you have a continued uptrend of an asset like Bitcoin, you could find a Head and Shoulders like anywhere. You can literally find a Head and Shoulders zoomed out on the weekly, which is where I am. You can find a Head and Shoulders on the daily zoomed out. You can find a Head and Shoulders on the 4-hour, because you have a series of these swing highs over and over again in an incredibly bullish environment, continued uptrend. You can find a Head and Shoulders anywhere. So you can find so many bearish cases from a technical analysis standpoint for Bitcoin. You really could. I don't do videos on that because I don't think that's going to be the long-term trajectory of Bitcoin. But there are a lot of bearish technical cases for Bitcoin. So going into technical analysis, for where Bitcoin is right now, to kind of really bring this video together is, so this guy Chris, he said, "Where's your 786 right now?" And I don't know exactly how he meant that, but this is what he's talking about. So yesterday I did a video talking about this Fibonacci retracement of this swing low to a swing high here. And here we were trading in this green rectangle. That's the 618 to 786. We were looking for support there. This is on a very, especially if I go over to the 4-hour chart right now, this is on a very small time frame. This potential support. It was my first area of light accumulation for Bitcoin, and we broke support, right? It's not the first time that we've broken Fibonacci support. We've also broken Fibonacci resistance in a continued uptrend, right? So what we do know, and what we're highly anticipating if we broke this support, which we now have, is a breakout target into the 6,000s, right? $6,500 range is what we have for the breakout target of the symmetrical triangle that extends back to June, right? Here was our breakout that we had out of the bottom trend line in end of September. And this gives you an idea of how long these things take to play out, right? We broke the trend line, we retested the trend line back to the upside, and now we're continuing a downtrend. We have a breakout target around 6,500. 6,400 is an interesting area we've been talking about since the beginning of October due to potential floor based on mining costs and miners and what they're doing in their own little worlds. And so $6,400, $6,500 is kind of that next support area that we talked about, that we were looking for. The reason why we have support areas, the reason why I have support areas, the reason why I set up these little phases, these little ranges are simply because I need my own plan in terms of when I'm going to accumulate Bitcoin and how much I'm going to accumulate Bitcoin. And that's me. That's my approach to Bitcoin. And so this is me continually just sharing this with you. And this is what it looks like for me. So we hit our support here, Fibonacci. We didn't get a bullish bounce, which almost isn't surprising. I feel like the market needs to hurt a little bit more. People need to learn a little bit more patience. That's usually how it goes. I mean, you remember everybody trading above 6,000, people calling this the bottom of the bear market. And, you know, everybody wanted that bullish bounce into that nostalgic bull market that everybody's hoping for, and it was complete opposite. We went lower, right? And everybody's learning the cycles of Bitcoin take time to play out, and we're still learning that right now. We have to let time go by, and we have to let Bitcoin retrace in a healthy manner. So if we go back to the daily chart, because this is the 4-hour, and we look at this, now we get a better picture of what Bitcoin's doing right now. Right, here's our halving in May, and we can remove that Fibonacci, and we have, not only do we have our next targets based on, and let me zoom in a little bit here because it's we have our breakout target still in play, another area of buying for me, $6,500 area. It's still in play because of the symmetrical triangle breakouts. But the other thing is this: if you take our Fibonacci retracement on a longer term scale, and we take it from the bear market low to our swing high in June that everybody enjoyed those awesome gains, here we are in a very large 618 to 786. So this guy Chris tweeted, "Where's your 786 now?" Well, there it is. Now we're looking at a heavier accumulation zone. And that's how it usually works. We have a short-term Fibonacci retracement on the 4-hour. It sets up potential for maybe accumulating some Bitcoin. But the higher time frames, the more you zoom out on the charts and you look at different Fibonacci zones, which are larger, then accumulation for me gets larger. The buy the dip scenario for me gets larger. And that's what this looks like. This is a huge key Fibonacci retracement, swing low bear market, swing high June, and here we are. And you can see we have our breakout target from that symmetrical triangle, very synergistic with this entire channel. Please note that the 786 actually goes down to $5,500. Could that happen? 100%. And I mean, you can even take the swing high from June. We can create a trend line based on what has transpired recently, right? We can have a falling wedge very much in play from that swing high in June, and look at this falling wedge going right through our Fibonacci retracement. And again, to speak to the patience aspect of Bitcoin to everybody out there that's watching, this is what it looks like. And I know it's not like this bullishly a beautiful thing on the short term, because look how much we could be enduring Bitcoin to the downside, right? This just speculatively on this chart, if Bitcoin just continued to downtrend, even with a bounce back to 10,000, right? Like, this is a completely a realistic scenario. Bounce to 10,000 in December, January, and then back down to 6,000 in February, March, right? We could be sitting in spring, April. We can be at like the 786 down here at like 5,500 in April, March. And I'm not saying this is what I think will happen, but this is in the back of my mind always a potential play. And, I do technical analysis mainly to put out scenarios that are highly possible because I just want to be ready for every scenario. And 50% of the scenarios available to us are to the downside, right? Now, if you zoom out on the chart, you can see that a move like that would be completely harmonious with the lifetime of Bitcoin. Especially since we're in this part of its cycle where we're trying to wait for the bull market setup. You can see Bitcoin, kind of doing something similar after coming out of the last bear market to a swing high, right? Just trickling down for a while before making its move up. And that's what Bitcoin is doing now, trickling down for a while before making its move up. The one thing different this time around is Bitcoin exited this bear market way quicker than how it exited the last bear market. It took longer to exit. And that might be why this retracement this time around in its cycle is a little bit more, it seems like it's taking a little longer, right? Because if you notice, when we hit our key Fibonacci retracement resistance back here, and I'll show you, this area of resistance, the bull market doors, right, was literally at the halving of 2016 for Bitcoin. Now this time around, look how much quicker before the halving Bitcoin reached this very key Fibonacci resistance, right? We got the bounce off of it, we got the resistance, but well before the next Bitcoin halving, right? Last time in Bitcoin cycle, it was hitting those bull market doors at the Bitcoin halving. This time, well before, like a year before the Bitcoin halving. So have patience, everybody. If you really want to, experience the long-term gains of Bitcoin, you have to have patience. So that's really what we're looking at on Bitcoin right now. I wanted to do another update video, technical analysis video. If you're here right now, means a lot. Hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Going to continue to track Bitcoin. I just wanted to cover some of these things. Peter Schiff, doing these bearish tweets. It's the same thing. It's the same story, different day. Just bearish things coming out of the woodwork, bearish articles coming out of the woodwork because Bitcoin is down a little. Peter, you're probably not going to see this video. If you do, man, I encourage you to do something else with your time than hating on a group of people, a group of investors that are just having some fun, that are speculatively investing in Bitcoin as an asset and hoping for some success and some gains. If you don't believe in it, that's all good. You go in your world of gold, enjoy that. I'm not going to talk trash on you. I'm not going to talk trash on your gold. But dude, I think you can do way better things with your time than the tweets that you're tweeting. So Bitcoin, if you zoom out on the chart, and I'll end with this, check it out. It's just another day in Bitcoin. It's always crickets. That's all I hear when I zoom out on the charts. There's a lot of noise when you zoom in. There's a lot of red right now when you zoom in, but if you zoom out on the chart, you're just like, wow, Bitcoin actually is not doing anything different than what it has done in the history of its lifetime. And that is Bitcoin for you. So if you can have the patience to withstand the zoomed in charts, and if you can put on those earplugs, kind of drown out that noise when you're zooming in on the charts, then I think you'll be good to go in terms of experiencing long-term gains. Speculative, of course. There's always risk when you're investing in Bitcoin. Like, I'm not here telling you 100% Bitcoin's just going to continue an uptrend. Take your money and do whatever you will with it based on what you can afford to lose. And don't listen to YouTubers. Don't listen to people on how you invest that. So I want to throw that out there. This is high risk play, everybody. But it gives us an opportunity to act kind of as a VC in an early stage tech startup. And it gives us all the ability to learn about a new technology and to make some money in the long term as well. So just have a good perspective about it as you're going about things. But long term, look at us on our way to the continued uptrend for Bitcoin. And right now, all we're doing, and this is what we'll continue doing, is trying to find where we put in this higher low from the swing low that we had at the bear market low. Will that be around where we are now? I don't know. Will it be $5,500? I don't know, but we're looking, we're tracking, and we're ready for everything. Appreciate everybody coming by. On your way out, hit that like button. Appreciate you. I will absolutely see you in the next video. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and God bless.